What's the smallest gap you can walk through? Or can these 1-pixel creepers kill you? Here are 100 of the craziest Minecraft experiments. The totem of undying is meant to save you from death, but does it work in the void? Jump in and nope, you'll still die. Can you MLG with a nether portal? It takes 4 seconds to go through one, so you'll need to build a really tall portal. Lighting it with flint and steel won't work. You'll have to use commands to create the portal blocks. Then if you jump from the top, you'll enter the nether before hitting the ground. However, your momentum will carry over and you'll still die. Check out my basketball hoop. It can launch mobs right through the rim. Just don't use a rabbit. It won't survive the fall. Try a chicken instead. It'll keep getting launched through the hoop over and over for the rest of its life. How many armored wolves will it take to kill one warden? Let's first try with 5 armored wolves, and they all get slaughtered by the warden. Okay, what about 15 armored wolves? This time it's much closer, but the warden still slays the wolves. If you want to kill the warden, you'll need at least 17 armored wolves, just as long as you're okay with not all of them making it to the end of the fight. Did you know that if you give a piglin a diamond chestplate, it'll wear it? But if you toss it a gold chestplate afterward, the piglin will swap out the diamond for the gold. However, there's a twist. If you give a diamond chestplate enchanted with Curse of Binding and then throw the gold chestplate, the piglin will just hold on to the extra golden chestplate in its other hand. Will Skulk spread past the world border? If you drop some mobs down, at first it'll seem like the Skulk isn't spreading, but the Skulk is actually being stored. Once you increase the world border size, the catalyst activates, converting nearby blocks to Skulk. To make it even more satisfying, drop a bunch of zombies from the sky, then expand the border and watch the Skulk spread across your world. By placing down 2 snow blocks and a pumpkin, you'll get yourself an accurate snow golem. With the accurate golems resource packs, snow golems look like they're block forms here, and it's pretty cursed. The same thing happens to the iron golem, and the blocks even start to break down as it takes damage. The wither also isn't safe from the transformation and looks just like a pile of moving blocks. Although this is technically more accurate, I prefer the original designs. Will this chicken parachute work? Since chickens fall slowly, it makes you wonder if they can slow your fall. To test it, I gathered a bunch of chickens and then jumped off a tall cliff. Unfortunately, this cool concept doesn't work, and I ended up just dying. But if you give yourself the slow falling effect, it makes it look like the chickens are actually doing something, and it looks pretty cool. What happens if you drown a zombie villager, zombified piglin, and husk? Will they turn them into a drown? At first, nothing seems to happen, but after a while, the husk transforms into a regular zombie, and then eventually into a drown. Meanwhile, the zombie villager and zombified piglin are completely unfazed by the water. They just keep swimming around. This is a giant crop pyramid. If you increase a random tick speed, the crops will grow super fast, and it's incredibly satisfying to watch the pyramid change colors. But it gets even better. Once everything is fully grown, place water at the top, and watch as it cascades down, crushing the crops row by row. Most players spawn the wither like this, but you can actually spawn the wither sideways, flat, and even upside down. The upside down version is especially cursed because the skulls aren't even touching the soul sand. You can break Minecraft with just potatoes. If you drop a potato on top of a bubble stream, it'll bounce up and down. On its own, that won't cause much lag. But if you use command blocks to summon tons of potatoes, the sheer number of entities and particles will quickly overwhelm the game, eventually causing it to crash. The potato stream does look pretty cool though. Can tiny skeletons kill me? You're able to shrink skeletons down with the slash attribute command, and they look so cute. However, when you enter survival mode, the skeletons will still shoot regular sized arrows that hurt like normal. Don't go near this creeper. It may seem completely normal, but it's not. It was summoned with a custom explosion radius, and when you go near it, it'll cause a nuclear explosion. You can use these supercharged creepers to blow up entire villages. If you use a debug stick in one side of a double chest, it'll create this glitched texture. Or you can debug stick the bottom side of a door to create an illegal door. You've probably seen a water whirlpool, but did you know it's possible with lava too? Start by digging 4 blocks in the center, and then dig 3 blocks out in each direction. Pour the lava, allowing it to flow toward the middle. Now, throw netherite items in the center, and you've got yourself a netherite lava whirlpool. If you shrink yourself, can you drown in a cauldron? Using the scale attribute command, you can shrink down, but when you enter the cauldron, you'll pass right through the water like it's not even there. You somehow won't drown in this water. Can a single pixel of water drown you? If you place chests and wall blocks like so, then jump into the water, you'll just get pushed upwards. Even using a trapdoor to force yourself into the water won't let you drown. drown. That's because to drown, the entire upper half of your body needs to be submerged. As long as any part of your upper hip box is out of the water, you'll be able to breathe. Which mob generates the most skulk? Passive mobs like pigs and rabbits only produce 2 to 3 skulk blocks. Surprisingly, villagers and iron golems don't generate any at all. Hostile mobs like zombies, creepers, and evokers each generate 5 skulk blocks, and even the powerful warden only produces 5. However, the ravager generates 20, and the wither generates the most at 50 skulk. By dropping an emerald inside a cage and giving an ally an emerald, the ally will get trapped inside trying to retrieve it. You can also drop an emerald under some lava, and the ally will burn itself trying to fetch it for you. Or my favorite method to torture allies is creating this simple water loop and sending the allies running in circles for all of eternity. What happens if you shoot fire charges through an end portal? Set up a bunch of dispensers, fire them off, and jump into the portal. On the other side, you'll just find the ground lit on fire. But what about arrows? When you fire them and go through, you'll see the arrows shooting out on the other side. My favorite though is shooting fireworks through. If you fire them from below the portal, they'll actually shoot up into the sky. If you try to place an axolotl inside of a mangrove block, it'll end up just getting placed above it. However, it's actually possible to put the creature inside. Just place 2 mangrove blocks like so, fill the top one with water, and place the axolotl bucket in the bottom mangrove block, and it'll end up inside the top one. This works with all kinds of fish as well. Which bed will the villager choose? Set the time to night and the villager will run towards the soul sand bed first. But if we rotate the setup, it'll actually head to a different bed. The villager seems to always be choosing the bed that's northmost. How much space do you need to walk on a block? Let's test it out using a shulker, since it can be positioned between pixels. With just 1 pixel of space, you can walk through easily. Cut it down to half a pixel and somehow you can still squeeze by. But what happens at 1/10,000th of a pixel? Amazingly, you'll still be able to move through. Finally, at the absolute limit, 1/10,000,000th of a block, you can just barely edge through. Push it any smaller though and you won't fit. Can a totem of undying save an armor stand? In Java Edition, even if you summon an armor stand with arms and give it a totem, the totem won't save it when it's killed. However, in Bedrock Edition, armor stands can be affected by potion effects. If you throw a harming potion at one holding a totem, the totem will actually pop and save it. But when I tried using flint and steel, the armor stand just died without the totem activating. The same goes for hitting it with a sword or shooting it with a bow. The totem won't activate. Can you light a portal underwater? Start by building the frame, but when you try to light it, nothing happens. How about using a dispenser? Still no luck. To light a portal underwater, you'll need to use a sponge and light the portal before the water collapses in. A fox attacks a chicken, and a wolf attacks a fox. But what happens if a wolf is protecting the chicken? Spawn them all in, and the fox and wolf will fight it out, with the wolf eventually saving the chicken. But what if the wolf and chicken are in a boat? This time the fox leaps past the wolf and takes down the chicken. Flying too fast into a wall with an elytra usually causes damage. But what happens if you crash into these different blocks? Fly into cobwebs and you'll safely get caught. Slime blocks, which normally bounce you, still cause collision damage. 1 layer of powdered snow makes you take damage, but making it 3 layers will actually catch you. Water, as expected, saves you, and surprisingly, so does lava. If you drop a dripstone onto a villager standing in cobweb, the cobweb will actually save the villager. But that's not the only block that can protect the villager. Place a villager in powdered snow, and it somehow protects it from dripstone damage as well. How about sugarcane? Nope, the villager dies this time. Okay, what if a villager is swimming in water? Yep, water will protect the villager from dripstone. Can a bee lift up an iron golem? By running the following command, you can attach an iron golem to a bee. At first, it seems like the bee can't fly. But if you lure it into the air with a flower, you'll see it carrying the entire golem skyward. You can even attach multiple golems, and the tiny bee will somehow carry all those heavy golems. This is a working rabbit trap. Rabbits will sometimes wander over to carrot crops and eat them, so we can use that to catch them. Place redstone torches underground and trapdoors on top. Plant a carrot and cover it with a carpet roof. Now, just wait. Eventually, a rabbit will fall into the trap and get stuck in the crate. Your dinner! Ever wondered what the inside of a bee's nest looks like? If you switch to spectator mode, click on a bee to see from its perspective and wait for it to enter the nest. You'll quickly find yourself kicked out and unable to peek inside. Darn it! Can a Vindicator attack a villager surrounded by rails? Nope, the Vindicator isn't very smart. What if the villager is surrounded by trapdoors? The Vindicator runs straight into the void, unable to tell the trapdoors are flipped. For something even funnier, try surrounding a villager with pistons and pressure plates. The Vindicators will charge at the villager but end up activating the pistons instead, running around in circles, trying to find a way in, and never succeeding. This is an illegal Minecraft illusion. These torches are off the grid. To create this this effect, place item frames between blocks like so, then replace them with a falling block torch entity. Finish the design by adding stair blocks between the torches, and you've got your illusion. Using commands, you can place down only the top or bottom parts of a bed. But can villagers still sleep in them? Surprisingly, villagers can go to sleep with only the top half of the bed, but not with the bottom. You can even place blocks like lava, bedrock, ice, and a grindstone below the top bed block to create some painful designs. What's even cooler is that the player is able to enter the top parts of these beds just like the villagers. If you give an Enderman Frost Walker boots, will it walk on water? Using commands, you can spawn an Enderman with Frost Walker boots. Then if you look it in the eyes while surrounded by water, it'll charge at you, running right across the water. It's pretty terrifying because it feels like this should not be possible. Landing on dripstone will hurt a lot, and landing in water cancels all fall damage. But what will happen if you land on a waterlogged dripstone? There are two possible outcomes. In Java Edition, the water will protect you, and you'll take no damage at all. But in Bedrock, you'll still get hurt by the pointy dripstone. Since creepers are scared of cats, we can trap them inside this note block floor and add a few cats inside. The cats will chase the creepers around and create music as they run. This must be what fear sounds like. Everyone knows evokers drop totems when killed, so here's a super cool MLG. Punch an evoker off a cliff and jump right after it. Just before you hit the ground, the evoker will drop the totem, saving you at the last second. Watching it in slow motion shows just how close you came to death. If a zombie drowns underwater, it transforms into a drowned. But what happens if the giant mob drowns? Since it looks like a bigger version of a zombie, you might expect it to turn into a giant drowned. Unfortunately, that's not what happens. The giant simply dies. Previously, I said that this chessboard was made using the immersive Portals mod, but I found a way to create it in vanilla Minecraft. Using block displays, you're able to create tiny blocks, and I was able to create this board. Theoretically, functional chess pieces can be made as well from the block displays, but I'll leave that up to the pro command blockers to add. Will a healing arrow heal you if you have half a heart? Release the arrow and nope. But if you wear a leather helmet, it will protect you just enough and the healing arrow will work. Can 1 pixel of powdered snow kill you? By building a setup with chests and a path block, you can find out. Walk to the edge and touch that tiny pixel of powdered snow and you'll still start to freeze. If you break a block underneath an Enderman, will it place a block to save its life? I broke the block below it and the Enderman unfortunately isn't smart enough to save itself. Okay, what if you place a block of sand inside an Enderman? Will it pick up the block letting water in? At first, nothing seems to happen, but eventually the Enderman will pick up the block and end up letting water kill itself. You are not smart! How fast do you need to travel to not get burned by lava? Let's start with speed 30. Surely that's enough, right? Wrong! What about speed 50? Nope, but we're getting closer. After testing different speeds, you need at least 62 to run through lava without getting scorched. Can iron golems see invisible zombies? Golems will normally come after and attack zombies. However, if you splash a zombie with invisibility, the golem will just ignore it. Well, until the zombie attacks him. Then the zombie will get destroyed! Most crops have a limit to how much they can grow, but not twisting vines. They can be bone mealed all the way into the world height limit and are a great way to quickly climb upwards if you're in the middle of nowhere. What's the highest fall you can survive from without any armor? On normal grounds, the limit is just 23 blocks. But if you fall into a pool of lava, you can fall from 44 blocks up. Beds reduce fall damage by 50%, letting you survive a fall from 45 blocks. Want to fall even further? Honey blocks and hay bales reduce fall damage by 80%, allowing you to drop from a whopping 100 blocks high. Who will win? One warden or 100 zombified piglins? The battle kicks off with the warden striking down a noisy piglin, and instantly the rest of the piglins come running towards the warden. The warden is only able to attack a single mob at a time, so eventually all the piglins will bully the warden and defeat it. Placing a boat on a soul sand water beam will boost it into the sky, while placing it on top of magma bubbles makes it sink down to the bottom. So, what happens if you put a boat between the two? The boat tries to sink and float at the same time, ending up just hovering slightly below the water. Will I survive if these arrows fall on me while I'm sleeping? I went into the bed and replaced the blocks above me with air, letting the arrows drop. Turns out they just kick you out of bed, and you barely lose any hearts. And what about tridents? I went to bed, the tridents fell, and nothing. No damage at all, and I slept right through the night. Okay, TNT has to do the trick, right? I dropped primed TNT above me while sleeping, but somehow didn't didn't lose a single heart. When you log off while riding a boat, does the boat log off with you? I joined a LAN world, got on a boat, and then logged off, and the boat actually logged off with the player. The same goes for other rideable entities like horses, where they disappear with the player. Although frogs can't walk past the world border, they're able to stick their tongue out through it to eat a magma cube. If you shoot an iron golem with an instant health arrow, will it get angry? Yep. Even though you're healing the golem, it'll still get angry. This ungrateful golem, die! Can a ring of Enderman protect a villager? By rotating an armor stand and spawning Enderman where it points, you can create a perfect ring around the villager. But it turns out the Endermen aren't great protectors. They just teleport away when the pillagers shoot, leaving the villager defenseless. With the weakness 255 potion effect, you deal no damage at all because your attacks are too weak to register. So what happens if you swing a sharpness 255 sword while under weakness 255? First, without weakness, the sharpness 255 sword deals a massive 136 points of damage. But once weakness is applied, a normal netherite sword deals nothing. However, the sharpness 255 sword still packs a punch, hitting for 128 points of damage. How quickly will you mine with an efficiency 255 pickaxe and mining fatigue 255? Normally, efficiency 255 lets you insta-mine almost anything, while mining fatigue 255 makes it impossible to mine at all. But when you combine the two, the pickaxe slightly overpowers the fatigue, letting you mine up the obsidian. Falling onto a bed will reduce your fall damage. But what if there's a carpet on top? Let's test it out. Jump down and yep, you still take less fall damage. The same goes for hay bales, slime blocks, and honey. But what about a campfire? Will the carpet protect you from the flames? Surprisingly, yes, you won't get burned. But wait, can a carpet shield you from a magma block? Nope, you'll still take damage. It's all so inconsistent! Snowmen will burn in the nether, but will powdered snow save it? Powdered snow freezes all entities that enter it, so it makes sense for it to save the golem. However, try it out and you'll quickly learn that powdered snow won't help the golem at all. The only way the snow golem can live in the nether is if you give it fire resistance. If a zombie's head stays underwater for 30 seconds, it turns into a drowned. But what if you give it a water-breathing potion? Will that stop the transformation? After waiting, the zombie still converts into a drowned, so water-breathing doesn't save them. What is the smallest gap you can walk through? We can easily fit through 0.9 blocks, but how about 0.8 blocks? Yep, still works. At 0.7 blocks, it starts getting tight, and by 0.6 blocks, we can't fit anymore. But if we increase it to 0.61 blocks wide, we're able to just barely fit through the gap. You can recreate this in survival mode using walls, fences, and slabs to make a tight gap you can just barely fit through. Who would win, 100 killer bunnies or 100 wolves? Normally rabbits are helpless against wolves, but summon a killer rabbit and it'll fight back. Just spawn the bunnies and wolves, then open the barrier to start the battle. You'll quickly see it's not even close, the wolves dominate. But what about 200 killer bunnies versus 100 wolves? This time when the barrier drops, the fight is much closer. The wolves put up a strong fight, but in the end, the bunnies take the win. Can waterlogged leaves save a villager? I encased a villager in a few waterlogged leaves and lit this massive area of TNT. After the explosion, I checked on the villager, and he actually survived. Somehow, tree leaves can protect the villager from a nuclear blast.
If you shoot a firework into an amethyst block, it'll play a jingle sound. A cool trick is to face 4 dispensers into an amethyst crystal to play a lot of jingles simultaneously. You also hear a bunch of firework noises, but you can disable all the sounds except block sounds for a more satisfying experience. Turn off particles too, and the whole system will look so cool. You can also create a bigger version by facing more dispensers upwards into more amethyst crystals. I love this.
Did you know mobs can ride axolotls? If you spawn a villager on top of one, it'll speed around pretty fast. But if you summon some zombies on axolotls, they'll chase the villagers even faster. To top it off, summoning iron golems on axolotls will cause them to chase and take out all the zombies. This whole situation just looks so cursed. Whenever a raid begins, villagers will rush to ring the bell. However, we control them by setting up trapdoors and lava. Now, start the raid, and as the villagers try to ring the bell, they'll fall right into the lava. Wandering traders are smarter than villagers. Set a villager on fire, and it'll just run around in a panic. But light a wandering trader on fire, and it heads straight for the nearest water source like a pro. You can even build a maze, and the trader will find the fastest path to safety. With commands, you can spawn a Thorns 255 pumpkin. Now when a golem attacks you, the Thorns will actually kill it. You can even put Thorns on a banner, and once equipped, it'll work too. Can an Enderman teleport across the world border? You can test it by shrinking the border, replacing the floor with water and placing the Enderman on a single block. Then break the block, and the Enderman will teleport outside the border. But can it walk through the border to attack you? If you stare at the Enderman from the other side, it'll charge at you but get stopped by the border. However, after a moment, it'll just teleport through and finish the job. Lava and boats don't mix. However, if you hold out a warped fungus on a stick, nearby striders will come towards you, and you can ride your boat on top of them. While this isn't quite riding on lava, it's the closest thing you'll get in survival. Will Thorns 1 million work on a shield? The answer is pretty strange. When a zombie attacks and you block with your shield, the Thorns enchantment doesn't trigger. But once you lower the shield, the zombie instantly dies. That's because just holding an item with Thorns can affect mobs. Even holding a regular Thorns chestplate will damage mobs when they attack you. Can you look in an Enderman's eye while using a spyglass? Nope, the Enderman will still get angry at you. If 2 dinnerbone sheep are bred, will the baby sheep be upside down as well? I tried it. However, the baby ended up spawning just like normal. This is because name tags don't transfer when breeding mobs. However, if you kill a parent slime, the dinnerbone name tag will transfer to the baby slimes. If a chest is outside of the world border, it can't be opened. But what if half the chest is inside the border while the other half is outside? Surprisingly, you can still open it. Attach a pig to a tall fence post and you've got yourself a game of tetherball. It's not too fun alone, but add some goats and they'll send the pig flying across the yard. Just remember to keep healing the pig or it won't survive the game. This is how you can share a bed with a villager. Normally, breaking a bed with a sleeping villager wakes them up and makes them leave. But if you break and place a bed at the same time in creative mode, the villager will keep sleeping, and you can click on the bed to join them. It doesn't look very comfy though. Wolves try to kill skeletons, but will they attack a skeleton horse? When you put them all together in the same cage, the wolf will kill the skeleton first, but then just leave the horse alone. Who would win, 1,000 pillagers or a single wither? The battle starts with the wither attacking, and the pillagers swarm to bring it down, even lowering its health a bit. But there's a problem. The pillagers are hurting each other, while the wither keeps regenerating. In the end, the wither wipes out all the pillagers and wins. Here's how to break a fishing rod almost instantly. Just use an auto clicker with a fishing rod on a mob, and it'll cause the durability to melt down super quickly. You're able to shred through multiple fishing rods with this method. Not sure why you'd want to do this, but the option is here. If you drop an Enderman from the sky, it will hit the ground and die. But what happens if it lands in water? Normally, water damages Enderman, but in this case, the second it touches the water, it teleports away, saving its life. Owie! Can this tiny creeper army kill me? I made them tiny using the slash attribute command, and as they got close, they made regular-sized explosions, but ended up exploding each other in the process as well. I'm still alive! This is how you break your shield in 0.1 seconds. Just summon a warden and give it strength 255. Then switch to survival mode. Hold out your shield and watch as the warden shatters it in a single hit. Ah! This fight will never end. Dispensers with skulk sensors are positioned to shoot at each other. They'll keep taking turns firing snowballs and activating each other's sensors. To make sure the fight keeps going, you can even summon snowball items to funnel into the dispensers. This is a water loop. Made from glass, soul sand, blue ice, and water, you can drop tons of items into the top and watch them twirl around in an endless cycle. It's incredibly satisfying to watch. For a cleaner look, you can even replace the glass with barriers. Can you craft using debug sticks? You can make a simple ladder with just 7 sticks. However, if you try doing so with debug sticks, it actually doesn't work. The reason why is simple. Although the debug stick looks like an enchanted stick, it's not. It just shares the same texture, but it has its entirely separate item ID. Will you survive falling onto powdered snow while wearing leather boots? Normally, powdered snow negates fall damage because you sink through it, but leather boots allow you to walk on top. So, what happens if you fall into it? Just take the leap and yep, you actually survive. Can you get Minecraft's hardest advancement with just 1 potion? How did we get here is notorious for requiring nearly every single potion effect at once. But using commands, you can create a potion with every effect stacked into it. In fact, the list is so long, you can't even read them all without shrinking your GUI scale. Just 1 splash of this potion and you'll instantly complete Minecraft's hardest challenge. This is an illegal sign, and it was made completely in survival mode. Signs normally have a character limit of 15 characters per line, and it's impossible to write anymore. However, However, if you go to your language settings and change the font to force Unicode font, it will make all the text a little bit smaller. This way you can type up to 23 characters per line, and when you switch your language settings back to normal, the text will overflow. This insane feature also works on multiplayer servers. Here's how to break a flint and steel instantly. With command blocks, you can constantly replace the stone blocks in front of you. Angle yourself just right, hold down right click, and the flint and steel will break almost instantly. Torches need a supporting block, or else it'll break. But what if the support block is another torch? To make this cursed design, just place 2 torches on a wall and use a debug stick on them until they're both against each other. You can now update blocks around the torch, and they still won't break. When you look into an Enderman's eyes, it'll become enraged and charge at you. But what if you're looking through glass? The Enderman won't react. Mobs can't see through glass and treat it like any other opaque block. This also works with trapdoors, fences, and even tall grass. However, if you look through water or lava, the Enderman will notice and get angry. I have no idea how it sees me through lava. If you give yourself a negative experience, nothing will happen in your hotbar. However, what you can do instead is summon negative XP orbs, and if you're holding a mending tool, it'll actually take away the durability. Given enough negative orbs, your gear can even get a negative durability. Minecraft physics are lame, so this user created a working physics sandbox all using commands. It features realistic water and sand physics, and you can even draw borders within the sandbox. I have no idea how someone would even begin to code something this complex, but I love it! There's a way to break Minecraft's height limit. So it's impossible to place blocks above y equals 320. But there's a strange exception. Some blocks take up 2 spaces when you place them, like the door, rosebush, and sunflower. However, none of these break the height limit because they still take up 2 block spaces. But there's one block I found that works. Banners! They appear 2 blocks tall, but only take up the hitbox of 1. One of the most iconic ways to break Minecraft is just by using an ender pearl to get on the nether roof. It's extremely easy to do, and will let you quickly travel across the world. If you like TNT in this order, a heart-shaped explosion will form. However, this only works in Bedrock, and trying the same thing in Java will result in just a random explosion. I just found something crazy! So in Bedrock Edition, when you suffocate under gravel or sand, air bubbles appear at your hotbar. These are the same bubbles that appear when the player is underwater. So it made me wonder, what will happen if you drink a water-breathing potion while suffocating? Turns out you won't take any damage. Water-breathing potions will prevent suffocation under sand in Bedrock Edition. This sand will kill you! In an early version of 1.14, if sand was placed on an entity, the mob would then no-clip through the ground. Testing it out on yourself, you'll see that it makes you sink right through the ground until you're killed by the void. It's like entering the back rooms. Another way to perform this glitch is just by pushing a block into an entity. It's a pretty cool way to break Minecraft when it's not done on yourself. In Bedrock Edition, if you give an armor stand a glass block, you can actually use it to see through water and ice. Make sure to use night vision to clearly see through the ocean depths. This contraption can also be used to see through honey and slime blocks, allowing you to see what's going on the other side of a sticky wall. In Java, if you summon an armor stand with arms and give it a glass block, nothing special happens, and everything will render correctly. How am I standing inside this end portal? In Bedrock Edition, if you place fence blocks directly beneath the portal, you can stand inside it without being teleported. However, in Java Edition, attempting the same setup will result in immediate teleportation to the end. When your tools hit 0 durability, they break. So how does this item exist? Mobs equipped with gear have a small chance to drop 0 durability items. Mojang even knows about this and said they won't fix it. Under special conditions, mobs can fly using elytras. If you just summon a zombie with an elytra, it won't be able to use it and will fall straight to the ground. You have to specifically enable the full flying property. This setting allows the mob to use the elytra and glide towards the ground. It looks quite funky because the mob tilts its head upwards as it flies. It even works on mobs without visible armor slots like pigs and even slimes, so you can have all kinds of mobs gliding down from the sky. Minecraft has had a ton of X-ray glitches that have gotten patched, but the one that's lasted the longest is this one. If you go in F5 and increase your FOV, you can see through walls. If you want an even better view, you can shrink your Minecraft window and you'll be able to see way more. Trapdoors actually save an arrow's momentum. You can see this pretty easily if you shoot an arrow into a trapdoor and open it. The arrow will continue flying forward, but what's even crazier is that you can blast a bunch of TNT nearby to supercharge the arrow. The next person who opens a trapdoor will be a goner. In version 1.8.4, dispensers could place down command blocks. Map makers loved this feature, but it ended up getting removed in the next update for a surprising reason. Command blocks normally can't be placed in survival, but hackers were able to use dispensers to place down command blocks and create a force OP exploit, giving them admin powers. To open this secret door, you have to throw a trident against the wall. This is because a trident enchanted with loyalty is able to press any wooden button or pressure plate on the other side. It's quite cool how the spinning trident is able to still interact with redstone. This version of Minecraft is dangerous! Dying in a nether portal would make it so you can never click respawn. Even if you restart your game, the respawn buttons will still be grayed out. To fix this, you just had to update your world. Want to break bedrock? Well, a simple way to do so was with drip leaf, because when it was first added, bone mealing it would make it grow right through bedrock. The bug worked on other blocks as well, like portal frames, enchanting tables, and ender chests. If you glitch on top of the nether roof, it will be a barren wasteland. However, on a 1.16 snapshot, crimson trees actually generated up here, so you could build tools and even a nice house. Circles are illegal in Minecraft. They should not exist. Well, unless you're a coding master, because YouTuber Command Geek actually created a data pack that lets you easily create circles in the game. To create one, just hold a name tag in your offhand that's named circle and hold your block of choice. Once ready, just sneak and your circle will instantly generate. You can even fill it up with water to create a pond. Or if you want to completely break Minecraft, hold a name tag called sphere and then shift to create a perfect sphere all without any mods. While most speedrunners use beds to quickly kill the ender dragon, there was a much quicker method. In 1.17, if you place an end crystal as soon as you entered the end, the dragon would instantly be killed. If you splash invisibility on a pig, the saddle can still be seen. While this may seem normal at first, if you do the same thing to a horse, the horse's saddle becomes invisible. Check out this strange phenomenon. Notice how one item floats higher than the others? If you think this trick has something to do with a carpet, you'd be right. Beneath the second item is actually wall blocks. When items are thrown on top of walls, they actually float higher than those on regular blocks. And by covering the top of the walls with a carpet, you can hide the walls and create this strange effect. Never clutch using a bed. While it may seem like a safe option to use it to catch your fall, once you get out of your bed, you'll take more fall damage than you would have if you just took the fall damage normally. What happens if you activate this end portal with a nether portal inside? There's actually two possible outcomes. In Java Edition, activating the end portal will simply break the nether one. However, in Bedrock, activating the end portal will slice off the bottom part of the nether portal, yet it will remain fully functional. What's the maximum amount of experience you can get in survival? The number is roughly 238 million levels. Once you hit it, your XP bar will disappear, not letting you get any more. You're definitely one of the best Minecrafters if this happens to you. However, there's a way to get more. Commands can be used to set your XP to the integer limit, and if you collect even a single more point of experience, your level will roll back to 0. No! All my hard work! But what's even crazier is this negative durability item. You can give yourself an item with negative durability, and the red bar will go across your screen. If you set the item durability to the negative integer limit, using it once will make the durability roll over and be completely new. Ever wanted a flying pet? Well, when the strider was first added, you could fishing rod it into the air, and when you got on, the strider would stay in the sky, and you could waddle above your world. When you attach a sign to the wall, it might appear to be placed on it, but if you look closely, there's actually a small gap between the sign and the wall. The small gap can even be right-clicked on to add text there. This will blow your mind. If you drop a tower of sand onto a cobweb and then push it with a piston in Java Edition, the sand blocks will just fall and transform into collectible items. However, in Bedrock Edition, something crazy happens. When pushed by a piston under the same conditions, the sand blocks move sideways, forming a massive, continuous line of sand. Minecarts are able to snap to rails below even if a block is in the way. The minecart can snap through blocks like slabs, soul sand, farmland, and even chests. It feels like you're hacking with this glitch. Minecarts are super buggy. When you ride around a corner and blocks are at eye level, the screen blacks out for a second. In older versions, you would even take damage. Peaceful mode is overpowered. If you switch your game difficulty to peaceful mode, TNT explosions will not harm you at all. No matter the amount of TNT you detonate, you will remain completely safe. This is a snowball lag machine. Snowmen try to shoot a zombie, but before the snowballs hit, they get carried into a storage area by soul sand bubbles. There is no limit to how many snowballs can build up, and it can break your world with lag. This is playable Minecraft inside of a chest. There's everything from running across your world, breaking blocks, crafting items, and traveling through caves. This insane creation was created by SethBling, and it works by taking a slice of your Minecraft world and rendering it inside of a chest. If you die on this strange Minecraft version, you'll be put in a limbo state where you'll be stuck inside your own body. Going into the third-person perspective, you'll see that your movements aren't attached to your character at all. Although you can't move around, ground, you can actually attack yourself and get this cursed death message. There's a way to duplicate Dragon's Breath. If you look up at the dragon while it's perched and spam right-click using bottles, the breath would end up spreading all throughout the end island. You'd have enough dragon breath for years. If you're falling from the sky and don't have any items, how do you survive? Well, all you have to do is disconnect right before hitting the ground, and once you enter the world again, you'll be granted a brief period of invincibility. This glitch can also be used to escape lava by disconnecting and rejoining every few seconds for invincibility. Using the /item replace command, you can place a spyglass on your head slot and it looks funky. Then when you use a spyglass regularly, it'll look almost like you're holding binoculars. Well, sort of. Everyone knows you can see through a creeper's eyes in spectator mode. However, there's a glitch you can do with it. If you /kill yourself while inside the creeper, you'll respawn and be stuck with creeper vision. Luckily, there is an easy way to fix this. Just press F4 and you can toggle the effect off and on. While not too useful, it's a cool trick to show your friends. Dolphins are very helpful, but they used to break the game. If you had them in a water stream next to a nether portal with items nearby, once the dolphin was freed, it'd pick up the item and duplicate it. This was a pretty unique way to duplicate. When you use slime blocks and pistons to launch a boat straight up, it creates an unusual glitch. The boat falls back down in an odd bouncing motion as if it's hovering midair. It's not a huge bug, but it makes boat wave machines impossible to build. Zombified piglins normally can swim in lava just fine, but if you put them in a lava cauldron, something strange happens. In Bedrock Edition, if you put the zombified piglin in a lava cauldron, it'll start showing the damage animation. However, it's not actually losing hearts. The animation just plays. This also happens to baby striders when you put them in the cauldron. The lava cauldron is a pretty unique way to torture mobs. Most players build huge and elaborate contraptions to crash servers, but what if you could do it with just a crafting table and iron ingot? Well, YouTuber Horizon lagged a pay-to-win Minecraft server doing just that. An auto-clicker was used to spam the quick craft menu, which caused the entire server to lag and eventually crash. By constantly alternating the time from day to night with commands, you'll make villagers dance in and out of their beds. Unfortunately, on Java, the villagers don't react quick enough to create the same effect. Check out my colored maps! They're possible to obtain in completely vanilla Minecraft. That's because when you give yourself a map item, you're able to specify the color of the map that you get. My favorite is this red one. Grindstones in Bedrock need a supporting block or it'll break. A cool trick we can do with this is create a long line of grindstone and then break the supporting block to send them all crumbling down in a chain reaction. What will happen if you activate this end portal? There are pistons protruding into the portal area, so will they break the game? In Bedrock Edition, the extended pistons actually prevent the portal blocks from forming, resulting in an illegal end portal. However, if you attempt this in Java Edition, the portal will simply break the pistons when it activates. The nether and end dimensions are needed to beat the game. However, on 1.16 pre-release 1, all dimension settings were accidentally removed. This made the nether and end completely inaccessible and would crash the game trying to enter them. It would also cause the world seed to randomize every time you loaded up the world, so you'd get these corrupted chunk borders. When breaking the top of a grass block, only dirt particles appear. This is because running and breaking particles uses only the bottom texture of the block. So next time you're sprinting on grass and only see dirt, you know why? Axolotls were super broken. Putting leads on them would for some reason make them spin around you very fast. It feels like they're dancing around me. Don't use this bed! On beta 1.6 pre-release 3, if you use a bed on a server, it'll prevent you from ever waking up. It's like a permanent nightmare. Explorer maps depend on chunk data. So if you have traveled in a certain chunk before, then that area will be filled out on the map. On the other hand, normal maps require you to hold the item and explore for the data to be filled in. If you spam type messages, you will be kicked out of your own single-player world and brought to the multiplayer screen. This only happens if your world has cheats disabled. The Ender Dragon fight is pretty easy with the right tools, but on a 1.17 snapshot, the end island is completely broken. The end pillars generated inside the island, so for each crystal, you have to mine underground, trying to guess where they are. This is impossible! If you travel roughly 30 million blocks away from spawn, you'll find the world border in Java Edition. In contrast, Bedrock Edition does not have a fixed world border. Instead, the game world starts to deteriorate the further you travel from spawn. When you reach 524,000 blocks, movement becomes jittery and difficult to control. Paintings break and can be placed on top of each other and to solid blocks. At 4.1 million blocks, you can no longer move on the ground. Movement is only possible by flying, either with an elytra or in creative mode. At 8.3 million blocks, entities less than 1 block wide, like pigs, will fall through the world. Larger entities like camels remain unaffected. Textures of blocks such as bells and stonecutters also break. Finally, at 16.7 million blocks, you'll be at the Stripe Lands, a highly corrupted area of the world. If you go to the corner Stripe Lands, it'll even look like a sky grid. If you like light an end portal with an end crystal inside of it, will the end crystal be teleported? Well, it's complicated. In the Bedrock edition, the crystal will actually transport over to the end, but in Java, the crystal will just stay there. This probably has happened to you before. While standing on soul sand next to lava, you'll actually catch on fire. It's a rather annoying bug, and definitely surprised me the first time it happened. If you drop an anvil onto a slime block in Java edition, the anvil will take damage. But in Bedrock, anvils won't take any damage from landing on slime blocks, which makes sense. This world is unlike any other, featuring end pillars in the overworld, expansive grass plains, towering mountains, and vast oceans. Endermen are the only mobs that naturally spawn here. To create this unique environment, customize your world settings to a single biome world and select the end as the biome. How small can you make your hitbox? The player's hitbox is roughly 1.8 blocks tall while standing, and by crouching, you can bring it down to 1.5 blocks. However, the hitbox can get much smaller. If you enter your swimming animation or fly with an elytra, your hitbox will only be 0.6 blocks tall, but you can still get smaller. If you enter a bed, the player's hitbox will be only 0.2 blocks tall and is located inside the player's head. This makes it so you can't hit a player in a bed unless you aim for the center of their head. Saplings can't be grown when a block is on top of it, but what if I told you this wasn't true? Because if you place any type of log above the sapling, it'll still be able to grow right through. You can even have massive jungle trees growing straight through birch wood logs. Okay, this looks insane. Minecraft hitboxes are broken. For some reason, mobs can actually hit through walls, even though it should be impossible. The strange hitboxes also make it so mobs can hit you through diagonal sections, which is why you need to cover up all corners when going AFK.